Hi, Dennis Weiss. Welcome to our town. We're in an old favorite place, the Abilene Public Library. We've been shooting at the Community Foundation, Mr. Miles, for a while. But they have a luncheon today my wife's setting up for. So we have Tom Miles, Heart of America Band. I had no clue, Tom.
Okay.
All right. So, yes, I do see you at Country Mart from time to time, but I didn't know who you were, and I knew nothing about Heart of America Band, so it's going to be fun for me to learn today.
Okay.
So what's Heart of America Band, and why are we talking about it?
Okay. We have a concert coming up November 17th, Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. at the relatively new Abilene High School Auditorium. And this group has been together performing since 1988.
Who is the Heart of America Band?
It is the 80 best people I can get.
Okay. That's why I'm not in it, by the way.
And
right
what it amounts to, we've got 3 people that have been in all 31 of them.
Okay.
We have people, I'd say out of the 80 people we have this year, I'd say 20 are new, and 60 of them are returning members. And it just depends on their schedules and whether they can play or not. We rehearse at the Abilene Bandshell, the Royer Bandshell in Eisenhower Park. Many people don't know there's an excellent rehearsal hall attached to the back of the bandshell that's heated in the winter and cooled in the summer, and that's our headquarters for 2 Sunday afternoon practices.
All right.
Then the third practice will be at the high school on a Saturday night, a so-called dress rehearsal, and then the concert will be Sunday afternoon, November 17th. We're really excited to be in the auditorium. It was opened 3 years ago, and it has a nice, wide, deep stage, beautiful acoustics, sound, lighting, seating, the whole thing. And we hope that this can be something we can do in future years. In the 30 years before this, we've played about 10 or 12 different venues. Wherever we can get in. There's no money involved. We have played at Chapman High School before the tornado and after the tornado.
Okay. They have a beautiful new auditorium as well.
Yeah. We played at Clay Center Middle School. We played at Clay Center High School many times. We played at Manhattan Middle School, Junction City Middle School, Wamego at the Columbian Theater.
Right.
We played at in Salina at the Masonic Temple, Bethany College at Lindsborg. We played at Fort Hays State University. Brand new hall at Tabor College in Hillsboro last year.
We filmed in it. We didn't film in it, Dave, did we? We filmed out in front of it, but we've been in it.
Right.
Beautiful, beautiful
hall. We played Abilene. We just did the gym many years ago. The auditorium, the old auditorium, which is now a wrestling room, was too small. Not wide enough. Acoustics were very dry, and we couldn't get 80 people. We could get 40 people maybe on the stage, but not 80.
We filmed on that subject quite a few times. The fact that when you had the band winter concert, there were people behind the curtain. You couldn't see people on the stage.
Well,
so, hey, I want to interrupt you.
Sure.
Because there are people watching today that go, talking about me, they go, that dummy, how does he not know Tom Miles? So, because you've been here before.
Yeah. I was the band director at the high school from 1982 to 1996.
Okay.
Toby Weisauer, who is the current conductor of the Abilene Municipal Band, was my student. We left in 96 and went to several different school districts in Western.
How often did Toby Weisauer have to stay after school? I just want to know, just between us two.
Once or twice.
I'd predict a much higher number than that. I would.
Yeah, but he's a good musician.
Oh, he is. Great guy.
My wife and I work with the summer band program. She's the custodian, I'm the librarian, and she's also a librarian. We take care of the folders, getting music in and out of the folders, setting up chairs, stands, pencils, bottled water, percussion, whatever needs to be done, we do it. I give Toby suggestions on what to program, and he picks out pieces. We sit down and kind of choose pieces each week, and which is fun.
So that's pretty cool. So you might not know this, and if you do, that's okay. It's good too. But we talk on camera quite a bit about the great thing that happens in small town America is when we send our young people off and go to college, and then they decide that I'd kind of like to come back back home and raise a family
Right.
and have a career. Well,
Well, the thing is,
so you're telling me that we send some of our old band teachers
Yeah.
away for a little while and we get them back
that's
too?
right. And the thing is, as a teacher, I felt that if my students graduated from high school and then went on and kept playing,
Right.
I had succeeded.
I would agree with that. Music is a great thing for the soul of man.
Well, and I've got second generation people coming and playing in the Abilene band now.
That's cool.
And so it's gratifying. One of my students, Terry Easley, who was here in the late 80s, one of the best trumpet players in the state at that time, he's over at Riley. I called him up this year and says, "You want to be in the band?" Says, "Of course." This is when and where, and I gave him the dates, and he says, "I'll make it work. I'll
Yeah.
be there."
Isn't that great?
He doesn't care what chair he sits, what part he plays.
Just wants to
I just
play.
want to play.
There you go. I
And-
love that.
and that's
I love
part-
that attitude.
Yeah, and that's part of the philosophy. There's no money involved, no mileage involved.
Well, no, there is money involved. It's money for all those people who volunteered. They're giving up their treasure
They
to
are.
have the privilege of playing in the Heart of America
That's right.
band for us, for the rest of
Yeah.
us.
And I can tell you how the band started. This was in the spring of 1988.
Okay?
Robert Paul, Bob Paul, was the Eisenhower photographer out at the Eisenhower Center, and he was a amateur musician, good trombone and euphonium player. And he said, "You know, I like to be in the band in the summer, but what about the other 10 months of the year?" I said, "Well, I don't know, that's kind of hard to think about." He says, "Well, why don't we get the best players we can find, have 2 or 3 rehearsals, and then put on a concert?" I said, "Okay, what do you got in mind?" He says, "Well, let's get Bob Foster down at KU." And I says, "You won't get him, he's too busy." He says, "Well, who do you suggest?" And I said, "Let's get David Higbee from Bethany College." So we invited David to come on board, and
Yeah.
he directed the group for 25 years.
No kidding. Yeah.
And the other people involved, I was just kind of the confidant and the host. We rehearsed initially at Abilene High School in the band room there the first few years. And he brought on his friends, Frank Swathel, a retired music teacher, and Fred Schmidt, who was a rather legendary music person here in Abilene for about 30 years. He was a excellent tuba player. He repaired band instruments. He directed the Methodist Church Choir. He was a music teacher back in the 70s. And so those three guys put it all together. And I just kind of helped around the edges a little bit. And finally, I ended up being the host and doing the program notes and so forth and playing saxophone in the group. Bob spent hundreds of dollars on telephone calls back then because it wasn't like
Right.
it is today.
Right.
I estimate this year I probably made 350 calls, probably 125 emails, and to get the people that I needed. And it's worth it. It really is. And I get names. I have spotters. I have talent scouts. I have a guy in Salina. I have a lady in Wamego. I have a guy at Fort Riley. I have a guy in Junction City. And these are my spotters.
Do
Bethany
you have
College.
a spotter in Hillsboro?
No, but I've got Paul Epp, trumpet player,
Okay.
who was the teacher of, trying to think, somebody says, well, he was my teacher back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And so,
We have our services in Hillsboro,
Right.
so we sell services down there. But I through that association, I've come to a firm belief that Tabor College is a real gem
it is.
in our area, and their music program and their performing arts program is just in the facility that the
Yes.
community built for them, second to none.
Yes.
And it's every time I get a chance, I say that. So,
Yeah. Well, Sean Knopp was our host last year, and Sean was at Smoky Valley High School, and then he moved on to Tabor College as band director. And then John Taylor, my friend at Friends, retired, and Sean got that position, so he moved to Wichita. To our chagrin here, because he's too far to come back up and help out with us. But I'm pleased for him that he was able to take this opportunity. So I've got all these helpers and I'll take their word for it. I said, do you know a good French horn player? Do you know a good tuba player? And they'll say, here you go.
Sure.
And that's how I do. I make probably 40 or 50 cold calls selling the band to people that don't know, that they pick up and say, well, who is this? I introduce myself, 10 minutes later I got them.
There you go.
And so
that's great.
It's fun to do that. And anyway, 1988, those three guys, and plus a little help from me, we got Dr. Higbee, one of Fred's tuba colleagues from the 60s, who was teaching at the Eastman School of Music. Don Harry was our tuba soloist, and we didn't know he was coming until he was about halfway here by car. And so he was our first soloist, and we're at Chapman High School, and it went very well. And so we just said, let's continue doing this. And over the years, people have fallen away. Frank passed away, Fred passed away, Bob died in 2015, and so here I am.
That's good, keeping the progress moving
he was
forward.
my best friend. He was a musical colleague. We used to take his camera and go to Wichita State and KU and take pictures of guest conductors and concerts and so forth, and we had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, sure.
And so anyway, that's what we've been doing.
I'm going to take you on a couple of segues. So first off, you mentioned Abilene High School, Clay Center High School, and Chapman High School, all places you've performed.
Yep.
I want to repeat for the camera. Every year we take that camera and production team and we go film musical events at all three of those places because all three of those places, one of the best programs in their entire school is music.
That's right.
And music lasts a lifetime. If you don't believe me, look at this guy. Right?
It's true.
It lasts a lifetime. I don't play basketball anymore. I don't know about you. I could still play technically if I could just find somebody older than 62 so I could beat them. But other than that, I don't play basketball anymore. But music lasts for a lifetime.
That's right. See, I started playing clarinet before the 5th grade in 1960, so I'm in my 60th year of playing in bands.
Yeah.
And I had two fantastic band teachers when I was growing up. One is still alive, the other one passed a few years ago at age 93, and I was able to see him and thank him for getting me started.
Yeah, what a gift.
Yeah,
what a gift.
And so anyway, we have players from all over. I can name off 20 to 25 towns that are going to be represented on that stage. We do have several people from Fort Riley that come over. We have members of bands from Junction City Community Band, the Great Bend Community Band, Salina Municipal Band, Clay Center Municipal Band.
That's just terrific.
Yeah, and
terrific.
It's fun, and you get to see different people in different situations. We have a trumpet player, one of our soloists, Trevor Duell, went to Salina South, Randy Fillmore's band program, went to Fort Hays State, and he is now trumpet player over at Fort Riley in the First Division Band.
Okay.
And he's one of the best trumpet players I've heard in the last 25 years, and he's going to be one of our soloists. And
a couple of things. You reel these names off and these communities off, and you're talking about the Heart of America Band and people who play in it. So I'm sitting here, and every time this camera comes on, I say the words economic revitalization somewhere in this interview. Well, here's what you're telling me. We have this in Abilene because you're here in Abilene doing this. We have this in Abilene. They'll be performing November 17th in Abilene on the stage at Abilene High School, 800-seat auditorium.
that's right.
But they're coming from all over the place to come here. What a quality of life benefit that is to the economic model of Abilene. These things, we hear about them, we see them in the newspaper, we hear about them on TV, we hear about it on radio, concert. We may go and have a good time, but I'm always the guy who says, it's more than just a good time. This is an asset to our community that people in bigger places would die for.
That's right.
Volunteers to come create great music, not good music, great music, just because they love to.
That's right. Well, the thing is, I tell the people in the group, this is the best band I've ever played in.
Yeah,
and that's university level, that's high school level, and so forth. The other thing to think about historically, John Philip Sousa's band played in Abilene.
I didn't know that.
Wherever there was a train, Sousa's band was on that train. They played in Salina, they played in Junction
So
City.
did they play going through Abilene, or did they play in Abilene?
They played in Abilene.
Okay.
They would do 3 to 4 concerts a day. They
No
would play
kidding.
like at 9 in the morning, noon.
What years are we talking about?
From 1892 to 1932. It was a 40-year
No
period.
kidding. No kidding.
And
Well, we're going to have to track that down. That would be a good something, trivia, something to know.
right. And so we're doing historically cool music. We're doing the Home Front, which is a medley of 8 World War II songs. Dave Carlson from Junction City is conducting that.
Okay.
And that's our tribute to the greatest generation,
Yeah.
as Tom Brokaw named it. We're closing with Stars and Stripes Forever, which is the official march of the United States of America.
Right.
And I'm going to direct a piece that was written in 1922 by Carl King. He was a man. He ran away and joined the circus when he was 13. He was the director of the Barnum and Bailey Band when he was 18.
No kidding.
And when he was 21, he was looking for something to do during the off season, and he answered an ad to conduct the Fort Dodge, Iowa Municipal Band for 1 year. He stayed 50 years. And I got to play in front of him, played his pieces in front of him when I was in high school up in Iowa, where I'm from originally. And so we're playing historically
What's his name?
Carl King.
Carl King.
Carl King.
Okay.
We're doing music by Aaron Copeland. I had the opportunity to play under his direction in 1976. He's the one that did the ballet suites for Rodeo, Billy the Kid, Appalachian
Okay.
Spring.
Mm-hmm.
And this is music from one of his operas that he wrote in 1954.
How long is the concert going to last?
With intermission, I say it will last hour and 15 minutes tops.
Okay.
So it's not
Okay.
going to be too long. There's
Okay.
going to be an intermission. Stretch your legs and
So I have to think you've probably been to the symphony at Sunset at Eisenhower campus during the summer?
yes,
Okay. So what this comes from is when the 1st Infantry Division joins in with the Salina Symphony
right.
for the few songs there at the end, and those horns come to the front.
That's right.
I've been privileged to set up close many years, and when those horns go to work, you can feel the music
That's right.
in your chest.
That's right.
It is so inspiring. Music has a motivational power on people, but when you can actually feel the sound waves of those horns, it's just brings shivers in your spine.
I was fortunate enough in 1990 to direct the Eisenhower Centennial Band,
Okay.
and we had area people in addition to the Abilene Municipal Band members, and that was an event,
Yeah.
to say the
I
least.
imagine.
Let me tell you about our soloist and
Okay.
conductor.
All right.
I mentioned Trevor Duell
Right.
from Fort Riley on trumpet. Laura Fortier is an elementary teacher in the Chapman District. She lives here in Abilene. She's going to be singing the song Never Enough from The Greatest Showman. It was a movie about P.T.
Right.
Barnum.
Right.
This is the 3rd year Laura's sung with the band. She's also principal flute. She'll be playing a small flute solo on God of Our Fathers, one of our pieces. She also sings with the band in the summertime. We do a big band jazz concert. Abilene Municipal Band does one every summer, and she sings with that group. The conductor is for the 4th year is Dr. Stephen Patterson. He directed the Kansas National Guard Band in Topeka for 37 years,
Wow.
and he's coming to conduct with us. He plays trumpet with the Topeka Symphony. He directs a municipal band in the Topeka area. He's a fellow Jayhawker. He has 2 degrees from KU.
Okay.
And let's see, we have college professors in the group. We have high school and elementary music teachers in the group. We have just talented amateur musicians from the various communities. We have 3 high school students from Abilene playing this year with us.
Who are they?
Allie Reynolds
Okay.
on trumpet. Let's see, Nathaniel Tompkins on saxophone.
Okay.
That's Aaron Tompkins,
Yep,
the conductor's
right.
son. And the 3rd one is, well, let me think here.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, it will.
As I was going to ask you another joke question about Toby Wisehour. You know, if you clean up his act a little bit, you probably let him play. But, you know, that all was just going to be a lead into how we're funneling people up through. So you're also familiar with Great Plains Theater and their youth program?
Sure.
Right? I've said this numerous times on camera. Putting those young people at Great Plains Theater on stage, side by side with the professionals, with the same responsibilities, the same burden of lines, the same burden of quality, is one of the greatest things in our community. Well, you just have told me another. Putting those 3 Abilene High School students in with people who, all these people of note that you've mentioned, who've been in music for 37, 40, 50 years, the impression upon their life, you couldn't pay enough money to get that done.
Yeah.
And we're doing it here in Abilene just because it's a great thing to do. And they hold up their end of the bargain,
Yes, they do.
I would say.
Or we wouldn't have them come
That's
play.
what I'm talking about.
Well, and the third student, Braden Adams, he's just a freshman.
Okay.
So he's going to be our youngest student, 14 years old.
Wow, that's
Bill
great.
Robinson is our oldest. He's 93 or 4. So you've got an 80-year.
I think we've made a pretty solid case for music as a lifetime
Yeah.
thing.
And also, Braden is a student of Dean Kranzler, who just retired at Fort Hays State. He's one of the finest music teacher, percussion teachers for, I'd say, 200 miles in any direction.
Tom, we have just burned through 25 minutes. Can you believe it?
I can.
Okay, all right. So November 17th is a concert at Abilene High School, 800-seat arena.
That's right.
It's going to be wonderful, beautiful, and a great event, so people need to come and have a great time.
3 p.m.
3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Okay.
And we'll look forward to having them come. They need to come up and say hello afterwards.
Oh.
We need to hear from them, particularly if they come from a distance to hear us. We want to
Okay.
know about that.
Yes, excellent, excellent. And then, you know, Facebook Live, some stuff too is all right too.
Sure.
Absolutely. All right, Tom, pleasure to
Thank you.
meet you
Yeah.
in this way at this time in Abilene, Kansas. Heart of America Band. Gosh, I've learned so much today. So proud of what you and that team have done for 31 years and are carrying forward.
Yep.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'm Dennis Weiss. I work for Eagle Broadband. Wishing you a great day.